Hi students, this is Kathleen, and since, as I promised, I'm going to make a video for you about your homework and a second video about homework for English 101, like the reading notes. Since I will not be there on Tuesday, and that is Tuesday, August 26th. So make sure on Tuesday, August 26th to attend Dr. King's class, but not my class. So here's my Blackboard site. And always you're going to see the homework here. It says it's due Sunday, but after I finish explaining this to you, I'm going to change the deadline to Tuesday, August 26th, so you can have a little more time to do it for the first homework. So it will always be posted here. There are these are the PowerPoints we did in class, and there are 2 assignments for this week. So the first one is called Quill. Quill is an online grammar and editing program that helps you do extra practice with grammar points and get better at them. The reason that I always do Quill with my classes is that I see students raise their grammar and editing level through the course of the semester by 25% or more, okay? It's very difficult, actually, to raise your grammar level by 25% or more in one semester. When you are a beginning language student, like you are just at the start, you learn so many words and you make a lot of progress quickly, right? Like you might go to your English class and you learn Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, January, February. Wow, you learned so many new words and so much new grammar. Everything is new. But once you're in the highest level of language learning, and you students are now in the highest level of language learning, which is learning in the college university level, it's harder to learn a lot quickly, okay? So I do feel that Quill helps us to accomplish some of that, okay? So we will have Quill assignments every week. This is the link to join Quill, and there's a class code, which is session-resort, or you can see it here. You have to create an account on Quill. You can use any email or password that you can remember, and then there are 2 assignments, okay? So, for example, you will click sign up, okay? And then you can click student. And then I already have a student account with Google, so I'm going to sign up with that. So you can sign up with your Google, or you can fill this in with your username, email, and password, okay? So I'm just going to log into my student account so that I can see what it looks like for you instead of my teacher account. And this is the class you're joining. So if you need to click join a class, and then you would enter the class code, you would go back over here and see session-resort, but I already have it. So let me just open it, and then you can see 2 homeworks. I will also change the deadlines on those. There's diagnostic 1 of 2 and 2 of 2. So both of these are places that see what's your current grammar level. I do not care how many answers you get correct on these. I just want you to finish them. Okay, so you click start and you will see there's 23 questions. If you don't know and you get 5 correct, you will get 100%. If you get 23 correct, you get 100%. We just want you to keep doing it. So the cat is sleeping, the dog is sleeping. So I could say, the cat is sleeping and the dog is sleeping. Or I could say the cat and the dog are sleeping. Now, when I submit it, I don't get any feedback. So usually, because this is the sort of test, the pre-test, you wouldn't get any feedback. So you can save it and exit it and finish it later if you want. Okay, so that's the first homework, 1.1 Quill. And every week I'll be putting new Quill, and it will always be due Sunday. Okay, the second homework is that we're also practicing using quotes and responding to quotes. So to do that, we're going to do it in this Padlet. You're going to find an image of a quote you like or type a quote you like. Provide a source if possible. Then write a short paragraph to explain why you like that quote and what it means to you. There's no login for this. So let me see, for example, if I search for quotes about writing, okay, this is just an example. Or maybe you already know the quote that you want, but here's a bunch of quotes about writing, okay? Start writing. No matter what, the water does not flow until the faucet is turned on. So I like that one. I could save it as an image, okay? And then this is what the quotes look like. You can see somebody already posted. Thank you. And for you to post, you just click this plus sign. You don't need to log in. So if you have an account, that's fine, but if not, no problem. For your subject, make sure to put your name so that I know who it is. And then here you would add the file. So you could either do a search from the web, or you could attach a file, link something, and then here's where you're going to write. What does it mean? So this is my example, and this is Riley said he already did, so he's going to get those points. I like what he wrote. And this is mine. Analyzing my quote, life doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful. I like this sign, and I used to have it behind me when I was teaching online during the pandemic to remind me, even if life is not perfect, we can still have a good life, even if it's not perfect. We can still have a good life. We can still have good English, even if it's not perfect. We can still have good writing, even if it's not perfect. Okay, so those are the things that are for homework for my class. Okay, so please get those done. Like I said, I'm going to change this deadline, and it will be Tuesday, August 26th at 11:55 p.m. Usually, in general, our homework will be due on Sundays. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to Dr. King's class now so that I can show you the assignment. So just to do a quick review of the assignments. For Dr. King's class, I'm just putting it under student preview, okay? So as a reminder, I gave the assignments for Dr. King's class are the reading notes, and I gave you this reading notes handout that reminds you how to do the citation, okay? And some examples and some phrases and words that you can do when you're using your reading notes. So you could access the reading notes. Did she move them? Down here under Zadie Smith, that's for Tuesday, or Ross Gay for Thursday, or you can access them up here in discussions and reading notes, and you can see Zadie Smith and then Ross Gay. Okay, so here's the reading note for Zadie Smith. What is the difference between pleasure and joy? Can you relate to Smith's experience with pleasure or joy? Why or why not? So when Dr. King mentioned that this item is created with a rubric, okay, and this is the rubric. So Dr. King wants the quote to be from you to use a quote and put the quote in quotation marks. Okay, so here this is a quotation mark in front of the word joy or after the word emotion here. The quote should directly address the prompt. The prompt means the question. So that means, what is the difference between pleasure and joy? The quote has a citation, and we discussed the citation, which would be Smith, joy, and then the page number. Okay? And the student explains why the quote is significant and then offers their own POV on the issue. And POV means point of view. So first you explain the quote, then you connect it to yourself in some way. Okay, so, there's a lot of, this is the end of the Zadie Smith essay, okay? Here she starts talking more about joy. Page 434, okay? The thing no one ever tells you about joy is that it has very little pleasure in it. Yet if it hasn't happened at all, at least once, how would we live? Wow. Sometimes joy multiplies itself dangerously. Joy increases a lot, okay? And then she starts talking more about children, because what if something happened to your children, okay? An equally dangerous joy. Let's see if I can flip this here again. For some people is the cat or dog, okay? So joy is such human madness. She doesn't really say pleasure is human madness. Joy is human madness to her, okay? So, make sure to review the end of this article too. As we discussed in class, the beginning of the article has got a lot of information about pleasure, and then she starts to get to joy towards the end. Okay, second reading, which is going to be for Thursday, but I want to also prep it and I will, for Thursday, I would love if you read it and maybe start writing your reading notes. And if you would like me to check your reading note, If you want me to check your reading note for Zadie Smith, email it to me. Copy it from Blackboard or from wherever it is before you submit it. Copy it, paste it in an email to me, and I will give you feedback. I can also read it during class if it's Thursday for the Sanctity of Trains. So the Sanctity of Trains is from this book called the Book of Delights. So I wanted to give you a little bit of, So this dictionary is the Learner's Dictionary. I'll put a link. So this is called sanctity. Sanctity. What is the meaning of sanctity? I am not a person who likes to look up every unknown word, but if it's the title, it's important. So sanctity, the quality or state of being holy, very important or valuable. The sanctity of marriage, the sanctity of life. So what can be the sanctity of trains? It has to be something special about trains, okay? And this is such a short reading that I encourage you to do. But in this part, the author, Russ Gay, is talking about how people leave their bags unattended. Unattended means they leave their bags alone and go to the bathroom or go to the cafe of a train. They leave their bag alone and no one steals anything. No one steals it. They trust each other. So in this paragraph, the author starts talking about what are other examples of people caring for each other? Caretaking, okay? And he says caretaking is our default mode. Default. What's the meaning of default? Default is like what happens when we don't change it. So when I open a Microsoft Word document, my default font is Aptos. If I want to change it, I got to click here and change it. But the default is Aptos, okay? So the default of people is taking care of each other. Okay, so this is a very interesting point. In this book, the author, Russ Gay, he wrote every day, he tried to write an essay about something that gave him delight. Okay, and then found things, he talks a lot about delight. He does talk more directly about delight in this article. Okay, and he says, delight is like a great cosmic finger pointing at something. What does it mean, cosmic? Cosmic, relating to the universe, relating to spiritual matters. I think that's probably what it mostly means. So it's like a big finger of God pointing. Look, look, look. Okay, but that's not it, he says. Perhaps delight is the great cosmic figure has pointed at something, and that something appears. Okay, so he sees things that are kind of amazing, like somebody has wheels that sparkled. An older person has wheels on their shoes, okay? Or a bird is flying through the airport, okay? And when he's talking about delight here, he's saying, is this about, you have to show your neighbor, someone else near you, something that's delightful. Our delight grows as we share it. So that's a really beautiful thing. So if we see something cool, amazing, we feel delighted, happy about it, but we might even feel it more if we show it to someone else. Okay, so let's pop over here and look at the reading note for this one. How is Gay's delight different than pleasure or joy? How is delight in that essay different from pleasure or joy? So maybe you will talk about whether these things are alone or shared with other people. Okay? Does it seem more similar to pleasure or more similar to joy? So you want to connect this in a little bit to the other article that you read. Again, you need to use a quote. And this is the author's name. The Sanctity of Trains would be one option, or Found Things, I believe. Found Things would be the other name, okay, that you could use. depending which article you used. So you would want to do that citation.